So, who are you?
Me?
Yeah.
My name's Ben.
Ben.
Yes.
That's just Ben.
Benjamin Joseph Allman.
Who'd ever name you something like that?
I don't know. I wonder who.
So, what's your favorite part about FBC Youth Group when we had FBC?
Back when we still had it before all the COVID stuff.
Yes.
Well, probably my favorite part was, just talking to the other youth members about our days, and being able to compare and contrast, like, the struggles we deal with and whatnot. And it's because, they're in the same situation, usually, or at least similar. So being able to discuss that with, someone who's in, like, a similar niche situation, it allows us to really elaborate on problems and really get to, get to the dirt of it.
So small group?
Yes. That's the best way to say it, I guess.
What did you think about the leader of your small group?
Well, I think I know him pretty well.
Yeah. I was waiting to say terrible, hate the guy. So, what's your favorite part of First Baptist Church?
Like the building or the community?
The building.
The building? I like the crow's nest.
So being up in the balcony?
Yeah, I like to sit up there.
Now what about the community?
Community? I like how everyone's like all positive with each other for the most part. and being able to basically just go up and talk to anyone, really no problems. Just don't bring up politics or something like that, right?
Right.
But that's kind of a general thing.
In general. When you're not at school, sleeping, or running cross country, what do you do with your time?
Edit videos. I have a YouTube channel. I try to keep that afloat.
Well, tell us about your YouTube channel.
A YouTube channel? Well, what I do on there, I just game. That's all I really do. I just post myself playing gaming stuff and ultimate video games. Still be playing Don't Starve Together, which I'm working on, Minecraft, Gmod. That's kind of all I do. I don't really edit it all that much. I just kind of edit out boring parts. But, people like it, so...
And how would we find this on YouTube?
Oh, you just look up Anteater 10.
Anteater 10?
Yeah, Anteater, uppercase A, space 10.
Okay.
Most popular stuff is Toy Story and Abandoned by Disney.
Cross country. What inspired you to even try cross country?
Even try cross country? But that was all the way back in 3rd grade.
Okay.
I just remember that, people were getting into sports, and I don't really care much for sports. Never really have, probably never will. And so I was like, these people are doing it. I want to be able to try something. So I tried out cross country. I don't quite remember the exact reason why, but I did. I don't know, but I liked the coach. He was eventually my 5th grade teacher. He was like one of my favorite elementary teachers. And I kind of just stuck with it ever since.
Did this teacher have a name?
Mr. Keith.
Mr. Keith.
Yes, he was a great teacher.
And you got a varsity letter last year?
Yes, I did.
So
I guess it worked out, maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like it worked out okay. So you used to, before the COVID, volunteer at the zoo. What has that experience been like?
It's been different every time, which is what I really like about it. Obviously, since the first year I work at the same place, so there's some similarities. But overall, they've all been different. Like my first year with Blackfoot Fairs, I didn't have to volunteer with like the summer camps. I immediately got to go to the animals, which is pretty rare and pretty cool. So the fairs were great. They all wanted to bite my face off, but they were adorable anyway, so I let it pass. And so that was fun. A little bit monotonous, but it was certainly unique because that's one of the most endangered species in North America. And so that was great. Had a lot of fun with that. And then afterwards, I moved on to Glacier Run, which I took care of I've been doing that ever since, by the way, since COVID. I took care of the polar bear, 3 grizzly bears, and a plethora of seals and sea lions. And seals and sea lions were my personal favorites. I know bears are cool, but the seals and sea lions had more personality, if that makes any sense.
What do you miss the most about it?
Tony.
Tony? Who's Tony?
That is...
Besides our pastor.
Yeah, besides the pastor. He's cool, too. Well, I was talking about the, what's his name? The seal, Tony. And she was always getting into mischief. There was one time where, what was it? We were out, right before training, seal line training, when, they go around, like, give them fish and they do tricks for the crowd and all that jazz. And there's a bird, and the bird flew into the water as the show was going on. Tony sees the bird and eats it right in the middle of the training. Just it just kind of burned the water and then just, and the bird was gone from all these people. It was horrifying. It was hilarious. It's probably one of my favorite memories there. And ever since then, Tony's been my favorite seal.
Have you been back to the zoo recently?
Yes, I have. I think it was over the weekend. Yeah, I went over the weekend back to see with my girlfriend to see they have a lantern festival going on, so I got to go see that. They're pretty nice because they would actually move. I didn't know that. They would light up and they'd actually move. Not all of them did, but at least somewhat. So that was a nice subversion.
I know, because I'm your father, that you are unsure about where you want to go to college and what you want to major in, but what might you want to major in?
Major in?
Yeah.
Thinking of one of two options, which is either global studies or radio broadcast. One of those two.
You know IUS has both of those.
I'm aware.
I know the people.
Pretty sure.
I'm one of the people.
Oh.
So, let's see. Oh, do you mind telling your salvation story?
Salvation story.
Yeah.
Well, I remember it was quite a while ago. My memory is not the best in the world, but I can try. Alright, let's see, what was it? Well, I do know that, fly in my face, way back, I want to say a decade ago, I'm not quite sure the exact dates, but around there, I was a lot more rambunctious than I am now. Like, one of my stories I always hear about was one time I got in a fight with someone at a McDonald's playpen. Like, you know the big McDonald's place they have in the back? Apparently I punched someone, and it was like twice my size, but I just didn't care. Which is, I mean, it's kind of a cool story, but it's also kind of embarrassing at the same time, you know? And then I met this one guy, what was his name? Jerry Ashabranner? Hopefully I'm saying his last name right. And my memory is kind of all faded because he's since passed away. But remember, he was a cool dude, and we would hang out despite the age difference. And he eventually brought me to Christ, so, yeah.
His passing kind of
Yeah.
brought up those questions.
Mm-hmm.
If you were pastor of First Baptist Church, what would you change about First Baptist Church?
What would I change about First Baptist Church?
Yeah.
I'd make the music more interesting.
In what way?
What way?
Yeah.
All we're doing is like old hymns and stuff. Get rid of that.
Are you sure it's all old hymns? I mean,
Let's get rid of that part.
I say Kyle was pretty rocking this past week.
That was true. That was a nice. It's in the right direction. We're getting towards there. It's a process. So let's make it more lively. It feels as though it's been kind of dull, stagnant, monotonous. So we need to bring more life into it.
If you were president of the United States, what's the first law you would pass?
First law I would pass.
Yep.
So law, not something I would do.
Either one.
Well, first thing I would do is I try to repair our foreign relations. Because, the ones that are traditionally our allies, they become, nowadays, they're becoming more suspicious of us because our current situation has gone passive-aggressive, to say the least. So I try to refer them, hey, we're allies. And then the ones that we're not allies with, hey, we're not allies. We can work things out, but, I'm friends with these people. Right? I try to, kind of get things back to square one rather than leaving it into anarchy it is right now.
Well, speaking of countries, what's your favorite country right now to study?
Favorite country right now to study?
Yeah.
Without question, Germany. No doubt. Second place is Poland.
Okay.
Poland's pretty cool, too.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
Well, first off, I'm Polish-German, so that helps out.
You're welcome.
Yes. And then with Germany, I was learning German language for all 4 of my years. I'm in German 4 right now, so I can speak quite a bit of it. I mean, of course, I'm not fluent yet, but I can carry a pretty good conversation. I mean, sometimes I'll break into it out of nowhere. And so, because of that, I've been able to study the culture, the country, and I have this little country series I do. where it portrays each of the countries like just talking with each other, like just a little bit of like satire in a way. It's like it's a comedy. It's not like nothing political, none of that stuff. And so in Germany, as well as the USA and Poland and some other characters, are like the most reoccurring and appear the most.
What's that called?
Country Ball. So it's fun.
What piqued your interest to learn about Germany
Learn about them?
and taking German class, and besides being German?
Well, the German class, or for my interest in the country.
The country.
Two different things. For the country, it was definitely my trip to Europe. Because I went there, and I believe it was between my freshman and sophomore year, where I went to France, Switzerland, and Germany. That's also Luxembourg. We kind of just drove through that, so I don't really count that. And we got to stay in Paris, Munich, and Bern for a while, respectively, for each of them. And it was really cool. I think we stayed in Paris too long. Should have spent more, because like Paris was like one half of the trip, and the other two were squeezed to the other half. But really got to really experience, and like it really just opened my eyes. When I was there, I was like realized like throughout all my life, I was told that it's just America. America's the greatest. Everyone else doesn't matter. Then I go over all these countries, I'm all like, this is really cool. I mean, why are we doing stuff more like this? And so I became way more interested in that. And I've been all like, hey, about America. Well, like, I've been there for a while. You can check out these places.
So if you wanted to take the ideal vacation, you would go to Europe?
Yes, definitely.
Where else would you go?
Anywhere else in the world or besides Europe?
Any vacation you want.
Any vacation I want? Well, the first thing I want to do is have a full-on trip to Germany and explore all the areas of Germany. Of course, I can't get to everything, but all the major things. And I'd probably do the same for other countries I'm interested, such as Poland, maybe Switzerland again. Austria's pretty cool. I've also been interested in Estonia and Belarus, even though Belarus is kind of going through some turmoil right now. But I find those two pretty interesting. And I wouldn't mind going to France. UK would be cool. The Nordics I've heard are pretty good. Serbia has been one of my favorites, but I don't know how safe that would be. And that's about it for that. There's some other countries I'm interested in, but not really enough to visit in, more I'd like to learn about them. Like Jordan's one of them, Kazakhstan is one of them. Canada I plan to just drive to at some point, just randomly, because it's right there. And I know my sister's really interested in Japan, so I kind of become interested in Japan through that. That would be cool. Israel and Palestine I like to talk about, but I don't know if I ever want to visit there, but they're fun to talk about.
You never know. How about within the United States?
What areas in the United States I want to visit?
Yeah.
Maine.
Maine?
Always wanted to visit Maine. I don't really have a specific reason. There is a cryptozoology museum that I do want to see, and that is in Maine, so I do want to go there. That and because Maine it seems like a cool state to me. I don't really know much about it, mostly because I've been thinking about, Europe the most, as well as other nations, but mostly Europe.
Yeah.
But Maine would be cool.
What's cryptozoology?
Cryptozoology? Well, you know what zoology is, right? Right, study of animals. Cryptozoology is a study of hidden animals. That's basically the rough translation. So it's like the study of animals that aren't exactly known by science. Excuse me. Some people don't treat it as a real science, which I think is kind of blasphemous. And it's like the study of whether or not certain creatures are real. The giant squid, how that was, just the Kraken, the legend way back then. And then, in 2013-ish, they're like, hey, this thing's a real creature. It's that kind of study for creatures that you think may not exist. Like Bigfoot's an example, Loch Ness Monster is an example, Jersey Devil. Mothman's my personal favorite. You get to study those to figure out whether or not they're really real or not. And debunk, hey, this is just a hoax, hey, this is actually real, this is what it could be, stuff like that. And Maine has a whole museum dedicated to it.
You ever go to a crypto fest or anything?
I have. I've been to, what was it called? Crypticon?
Crypticon.
That was in Lexington, Kentucky? And so we went there. That was pretty cool because we were able to find a bunch of people who were interested in that as well, which isn't, I didn't think it was that big of a thing, but it actually is. So it's cool to talk to them and everything. Even though I was way younger than when I was there, but whatever.
Is there anything you think we were going to ask you that we didn't ask?
Going to ask me that you didn't ask? Probably just basic school stuff. Even that I wouldn't really want to talk about that. It is going well. School is going well, strangely. It shouldn't be because it's, it's COVID and all that stuff. But actually, it's not been bad. I haven't died yet, so that's pretty good.
That's always good. Yeah. What's your favorite accomplishment?
Favorite accomplishment
Yeah.
of my whole life?
I'm not gonna narrow it down for you.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what popped into my head first. First thing that popped into my head was you have accomplished nothing.
You've accomplished a lot. So.
That's true. I guess I'm just too pessimistic. Well, I did manage to run a successful YouTube channel.
All right.
I've been wanting that for a very long time, ever since I discovered it.
Right.
And I kind of managed to succeed in it. I don't know how I did, to be honest. I just kind of did what I wanted, and people respected that and went with it. So I was pretty happy about that.
How many followers do you have?
Currently, I have 3,000 subscribers. That's not the exact number. It's like 3,300 something, but it's around there.
Yeah.
But it's always growing, so you never know. Started that in very, very late 2015. So basically 2016.
Okay. I can't think of anything else.